actually are you doing in this country? You are lying. You are always lying. You don't tell the truth. Why? Everybody is suffering. Market, they are not buying anything. The currency is down. What actually are you doing?
Ghanaians have been calling and crying to Bawumia to take away taxes on sanitary pads. Today, a Ghanaian woman pays more on sanitary pad because of the taxes on them.
Our little tax, come on, let's be reasonable. Taxing period, women period every month.
Why should we pass a law imposing tax on sanitary pads? This is unconscionable.
We are asking for the taxes on sanitary products be scrapped off.
Mr. Chairman, I now want to turn to exchange rate depreciation. The Ghana cedi is currently in free fall and depreciating virtually on a daily basis. In fact, this is what you are seeing as a Midonyami exchange rate.
Bawumia vowed the stability of the cedi. He was most popular for his criticism of the Ghana cedi. Yet, in the past years, the cedi has been plunged into a historic freefall, from 4 cedi 20 pesos to a staggering 15 cedis under his economic watch. What happened to his claim that the cedi has been arrested and the key given to the IGP? It seems that this was just another of his taking Ghanaians for granted.
And you have seen a stability return to the exchange rate. In fact, for the year, the cedi has appreciated in value. When we came in, it was running. Essentially, we have arrested it. And the IGP has the key. She's locked it up.
The time he said he had locked the Ghana cedi and given the key to IGP, it was completely premature. So if, because at the time you've borrowed money and shored up the currency, you come and announce in a high-profile program that you have arrested the cedi and given the key to the IGP, clearly that cannot be true.
Again, Bawumia told us in order to save the cedi, he was going to introduce a novel policy called the Gold for Oil policy, claiming it would shore up Ghana's foreign reserves and stabilize the cedi.
Yes, and you are going to lower the depreciation of the currency because instead of the oil importers, especially the EDCs, going to the Bank of Ghana's window every few weeks to ask for foreign exchange to import oil, that one goes away. So we are saving $3 billion annually from the lack of demand from the Bank of Ghana for the foreign exchange. So that reduces the pressure on the cedi immediately. And
yet again, he failed. As Bloomberg had reported, a 22-day consistent depreciation of the cedi, undermining the promise as a currency panacea. With all the lectures on restoring the cedi, the promise made to Ghanaians young and old before 2016, with the swearing with the Holy Book in front of thousands of Ghanaians, for 8 years, the biggest admission was made on TV by the Director of Communication of Bawumia himself that he has failed to restore the value of the cedi.
The fact is, if you look at the economy clearly, if we're able to have a hold on our currency issues, the ripple effect is quite great. I mean, fuel prices are high because our currency is struggling against the dollar. And once fuel prices go high, it has a direct effect on prices of goods and services.
Were we not told that the main reason why Bawumia is the vice presidential candidate before 2016 was because he was going to stabilize the cedi?
Was my running mate, Mahamadou Bawumia. Then he was deputy governor of the Bank of Ghana. It's one of the reasons I brought him to come and join me. That we will work on the cedi and create again a strong cedi.
Did he not tell us that he has arrested the cedi?
The cedi has appreciated in value. When we came in, it was running. Essentially, we have arrested it.
Did he not tell us that his team was competent?
Senior Minister Yao Osafo Mafu, what a solid team.
Did he not also tell us that he has introduced a novel Gold for Oil initiative to stabilize the cedi? Trust is fragile, easily shattered by a single broken promise.
They say, also $10,000, almost about 153,000 Ghana cedis. And now this is at $10,000. Now, Sabita Frache, sort of say, young fan say, 7 years ago, then the number is 4 point something. Why would you say? I didn't need to beat me. What I saw to society, be Bianco, so a man here.
Baumia di assembly no babe katre. Eh di assembly no Baumia da katre. O kanu krea na MPP for na nkasa mi MPP ni. O kanu krea om beso mbiti.
You cannot manage the economy with propaganda. You can engage in all the propaganda you want. But if the fundamentals are weak, the exchange rate will expose you.
On every platform Baumia has, he seemed unable to control himself. In the same vein, Baumia told the world about the Ghana card, insisted that the NDC had abandoned the Ghana card project for 8 years as seen here.
The Ghana card project was initiated by President Kufuor, but was practically abandoned for 8 years. We revived the process.
Unfortunately for him, he was exposed by the NIA boss in Parliament.
Right, Honourable Speaker, NIA as at February 2017 had registered 4,554,528 Ghanaians. It had printed the cards of 2,719,425 Ghanaians and issued 900,000 cards to Ghanaians.
The NDC actually established the head office of the National Identification Authority under the leadership of the late Dr. Mustafa Ahmed.
It is against this backdrop that the NIA has begun a pilot distribution exercise in the Ladadekotopong and Lejokukukurowo municipal areas. A Minister of State at the presidency, Dr. Ahmed Mustafa, said the authority would ensure every Ghanaian receives their cards as soon as possible.
The cards were printed, we faced challenges, an attempt was made, and I want to assure you that we will not stop, but we will continue to forge on with the distribution.
In paragraph 48 of Baumia's report, he boasted resolving Dumso in a short time. Yet, Baumia's own past admissions and the former majority leader of the MPP acknowledged it was the previous NDC administration.
And it's because of Dumso, and Dumso has been caused by the financial and economic mismanagement by this government. And so we shouldn't be giving them credit for solving a problem that they have solved for the past 4 years.
The energy sector, you call Dumso, President Mahama, I'm hoping to say, be your man if you do so. And you will take steps to get us out of it. And only Tema plans are buy to generate electricity for us. On the face of it, a good thing, or
Another glaring self-contradiction by Baumia. He falsely claimed to have launched the online passport portal when the NDC had implemented it as far back as 2015.
Out of passport forms, you can't get your passport. We are moving the whole process online, and you go, and because of mobile payments interoperability now, you just go and buy a voucher online.
We share online passport application project after 2014 and a National Information Technology Agency.
This online passport application project was initially introduced in 2014.
Baumia's digitalization mirage continued with the supposed introduction of the tap and go e-ticketing system.
With cash, which can be used to pay for transport fares by tapping the card like.
On this note, I hereby declare the tap and go for the Metro Mass Intercity services duly launched.
An initiative that the NDC government had rolled out as evidenced in this video.
Special cards with top-up when credit runs out are needed to board the Ayalulu bus. Purchasing a travel card is easy from any departure or arrival terminal. A new card at the time of purchase comes with 2 Ghana cedis, 90 pesos credit already loaded on it, and can be topped up at any bus stop or by using mobile money, just like a mobile phone top-up. A minimum of 2 Ghana cedis, 50 pesos is always needed on the card before a journey begins.
Baumia Bawumia's desperate attempt to find solace in digitalization is a total failure. Ghana's digitalization transformation began long before he took office. Former President Kufuor laid some foundation, which Bawumia conveniently fails to acknowledge always. It was the NDC under the leadership of John Dramani Mahama that erected pivotal digital infrastructure, the Accra Digital Center.
In Accra Digital Center, I will be saying, I commissioned it. There was a whole ceremony. I commissioned Accra Digital Center. We went on a tour, media phone now. And he said, one take.
Ghana's data center, over 1,000 kilometers of fiber optic backbone.
It's a fiber optic network that, as you've been told, travels for 800 kilometers starting from here, all the way to Boko in the Upper East region, and then connected to Accra to the data center and through there to the rest of the country.
An LTE 4G network blanketing the nation with 119 base stations. Oblivious of this history and the public suffering amidst ballooning debts, Bawumia squandered scarce resources relaunching programs already launched by previous administration. A man once heralded as an economic messiah now seems singularly focused on emptying state coffers through acts of deception. The closer we get to elections, the lie keeps getting worse. On the 3rd of September, the flag bearer of the MPP, Dr. Mahmoudou, at this point, I should be forgiven if I say Baolaya, said this.
I came up with the idea that we should buy equipment to help every district to construct roads in Ghana. It has nothing to do with Parliament. It didn't go to Parliament for any approval.
How this man consistently embarrasses himself with these lies still leaves many in awe. Here is a video from the administrator of the District Assembly Common Fund, Madam Irene Toshi Ado, clearly contradicting almost everything Bawumia said.
I wish to thank the members of Parliament, especially the leadership and the local government committee, for their support in this regard when it was proposed in Parliament.
That 1, Parliament was directly involved contrary to the lie of Bawumia. 2, that it was entirely his idea. And that 3, it is something new. On February of 2015, the presidency of John Dramani Mahama inspected German earth-moving equipment under a similar initiative without this noise or pomp and pageantry. Bawumia, why the lies? Recently, Bawumia's penchant for deception was laid bare in the ghost name scandal. Despite boldly proclaiming the complete purge of phantom identities from government payrolls, a startling revelation by the Office of the Special Prosecutor exposed the hollowness of Bawumia's claim. The Office of the Special Prosecutor uncovered a chilling truth. Not only had ghost names persisted as against the claims of Bawumia, but an astonishing 34 million cedi was saved by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Funds that could have uplifted a lot of communities. These millions of cedis hemorrhaging, sacrificed at the altar of Bawumia's falsehood, a troubling pattern that plagued Bawumia since the beginning of the administration. Consistently and almost weekly, a new lie seemed to tumble from Bawumia's lips, each one more brazen than the last. From repackaging existing projects as digital supremacy to inflating job numbers, truth appears to be a mere inconvenience readily discarded in the service of political expediency. The failed promises, the lies, the deceit, the silence over suffering of Ghanaians only demonstrate one thing, that Bawumia cannot be trusted. Bawumia's promises didn't stop when they took power. He kept churning out lofty claims at every opportunity, like the constant need to peddle fiction as the panacea to Ghana's problem. Let's discuss a few of these. He stood in Cape Coast, vowing to build an harbour and an airport.
People of Cape Coast, I have good news for you. We are building a new harbour in Cape Coast and a new airport in Cape Coast.
This turned out to be yet another empty promise, as it was exposed by none other than his own president, Nana Addo.
So as far as the harbour, we have to be very clear in our mind. We never committed ourselves. I never said I was going to build a harbour in Cape Coast. I said I was going to build a landing site, like what happened.
To the Zongo communities, he pledged 16 model schools across Ghana's regions to boost education.
We want to make sure that we focus on education in the Zongo communities. So we are building in each of the 16 regions. We are building model senior high schools in Zongo communities in the 16 regions. So we have 16. Every region we are going to build a model senior high school in the Zongo community.
So now the question we ask is that,
the 16 secondary schools, model secondary schools, as you heard in the tape, it was a manifesto promise. Where are the secondary schools? Where are the secondary schools in the Zongos?
4 years later, that promise lies in tatters. He promised the allocation of $50 million in the Zongo Development Fund every year.
We are going to make sure every year at least that money, the equivalent of $50 million, will be in that fund every year, so that no government can come and say there is no money for Zongo development. It will be in the law, and we will make sure it happens, inshallah.
This also turned out to be a lie. Once trumpeted as MPP's crowning achievement in the North by Bawumia, as said in this video.
In the northern part of our country where you come from, and Damono, can you beat your chest and say, yeah, yet this signature project in the north?
I think the most important project, here in the north, since independence, a Palugu Dam project. Government,
The Palugu Dam now finds itself in the future ambition on Bawumia's campaign trail.
My first priority is going to be agriculture. And in the Palugu Dam, we have not yet been able to do it, but by the grace of God, I believe we are going to do the Palugu Dam. It has to be done.
How does he even do it? A perplexing reversal leaves people questioning the reality of their long-awaited development. Across the nation, Ghanaians have watched in dismay as Bawumia's promises crumbled one after the other. The hundreds of promises made during the feverish campaign days now ring hollow. Their echoes echoing through communities, still waiting for the transformation promised. Bawumia's litany of backtracking, exaggerations and repackaged initiative has eroded trust in his leadership. As he seeks the presidency, his candidacy is plagued by the spectre of his own words. The bold declaration about reviving the city, providing jobs, unlocking prosperity, and ushering in an era of economic revitalization. Yet, the grim realities, ballooning debt, soaring inflation, increased economic hardship, exposes the hollowness of these claims. How can the man who brazenly discarded his own previous principle be entrusted with the nation's highest office? The Ghanaian people have tasted the bitter truth that his promises, no matter how sweet, are devoid of sustenance. As the nation stands at the crossroad, they must decide whether to place their feet in a mirage's pedal or demand a leadership that has a proven track record of tangible results. The reality, Ghanaians now reap the bitter harvest sown by Bawumia's tenure.
To protect the public purse. If you've not protected the public purse, why should it be us?
What was promised as an era of prosperity has withered away into widespread suffering. With the economy crumbling under his oversight, Fitch downgraded Ghana to a junk status, locking Ghana out of the international bond market, forcing elder citizens onto the streets in anguish and protest over their depleted life savings.
My own money, and somebody will sit on it. Why? I don't need their money. My own money. I want to live on. Nobody would look after me. I lost my wife. I live alone. Who will look after me? That means government wants me to get rid of me.
Many would have died unable to afford health care. Can a man who brazenly discarded his own economic principles unleash economic anguish upon the very citizens he vowed to uplift?
Why should we as a country get to the stage where an elderly man like him has to tell the whole world his health challenges? That's not right. That's not fair. That's not righteous. That's not kind for a country to do. It's abominable It's an abomination.
Bawumia tried distancing himself from the government, calling himself just a driver's mate, an admission of failure and a disrespect to the office of the vice president, who is more akin to a co-driver than a driver's mate.
As vice president, I am like a driver's mate.
But his fate was sealed as the senior minister, Yao Osafo-Maafo, had boldly stated the opposite.
I want all of us here to, and on behalf of my colleagues, say a very big thank you to the type of leadership the EMT has enjoyed from Dr. Bawumia. A chairman who is so involved in the work of every, he works like a member, like a secretary, is sterling quality, professionally excellent. So we are where we are because Dr. Bawumia is putting up a very professional chairmanship to the EMT, and I pray that we continue to work together as a team.
That leadership of the economic management team rested squarely on the shoulders of Bawumia, and sadly, Bawumia drove the country backward. As he seeks presidency, Bawumia's propensity for making holy promises raises serious credibility issues. Can his words be trusted, or are they just tools for myth-making? When the realities fail to match the rhetoric, let's remember this: a broken promise is a dagger in the heart, leaving wounds that will never heal. Only Ghanaians can decide whether to step out from under the darkening pale. For far too long, Ghanaians have been force-fed mirages of prosperity by this man, while subsisting on crumbs of hardship. Perhaps it is time to place their faith in a leadership anchored in authenticity and evidence, not hollow fictions that crumble under the weight of reality.
When in government, stop promising. Do it. People rate you, people assess you on the basis of what you do. Given the kind of campaign he waged, that led to the change of government. One would have expected that by now, delivery is all we'll be seeing and less talk. If I were in his shoes and I'm seeing these things, I'll cringe with embarrassment.
I think the sentiment generally, and I'm certainly included, is that this individual does not know what he's talking about. You know, because if you are so incompetent yourself in the seat, today a lot of people look at the past with rose-tinted glasses and wonder, you know, perhaps and not even perhaps that we're better off, that we're in fact economically better off. On all social indications, this country has been taken back many decades, that there's a huge regret in the path we have taken. And the worst part is that those who are at the forefront of this decline show no remorse, show no humility, and in fact have no shame to be able to stand up and promise new things or put themselves in a conversation for how we repair and rebuild as a nation.
On the 5th of January 2016, the then President Mahama said this:
Allow history to be the judge of how I have served my nation. How well I have done my part in running my lap of that relay. What that verdict will ultimately be, I cannot say. I can only say that I have done my best, giving my all.
In almost 8 years, what is the verdict of this proclamation?
One day on television, I will kneel down and say, Mahama, I am sorry. And someone may kafan on how an angel.
Say one day,
Mahama was an angel.
Mahama Kafra. Maybe you ain't this new, but I stand for the truth. Mahama, sorry.
Oh, I'll take this opportunity to apologize to the former president. I mean, His Excellency John Mahama.
And yesterday, I was bold to apologize to President Mahama because he's a fine gentleman.
Corruption. Times 10. Mama, you see the Facha Ghana for the Facha and the Facha.
You so up at the mama shop, but I'm going to take a maybe the upper show. My body baby, no how my body baby.
Listen, someone make it come from Mahama who far that time you piece of Mahama you from forward you say, Mahama ended.
For 8 years, Ghanaians' dreams lie shattered amidst the ruins of Bawumia's promises. Antiama